we love technology. We love looking at screens. You know, it's like and going back to the slowing down to go faster. Before all this was happening, everybody says this. Well, my life was getting kind of it was getting good. Like I feel like I was going somewhere. I talked to a lot of people about that, and they said the same thing. But before all this happened, everybody's like, we got to do this. Go, 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 go. We got to book shows. We got to do this. We got to do this. I got to go to work. I got to eat. I got to do this. I got to do that. It's like, whoa.
It's Eddie in a karate studio.
It's actually my real. It's not a fake background.
I'm at the beach.
No, this is not a fake background. You can tell I'm really at a garden.
Right, and you have a clock attached to your neck.
It's not a clock. It's a moon. It's a moon.
So Eddie,
it's a moon and a sun.
Dude, what's up? So is this your workout studio? Because this legit looks like my nephew's is like where they go to do karate. That's like the same style mat.
Mm-hmm.
You have your own studio?
Yeah. So this is actually where we used to practice, but the band's not around right now. But so during this quarantine, I decided just to build this.
Do you practice martial arts?
I would practice martial arts since I was probably about 12, 13 years old.
What?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what specific? Because obviously there's different disciplines. You do.
So I started kung fu, but that's so generalized. So I learned praying mantis Walloon Pai kung fu.
Holy crap!
The northern style of China. So I learned that at Bruce McCory's in Peabody for a couple of years, and I was more involved with that when I was a kid.
Okay.
Believe it or not, as you guys know, I am a musician, obviously, but I actually didn't listen to music when I was a kid.
What was that? You listened to who?
You didn't listen to music?
I did not listen to music when I was a kid.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
So when did you first start getting interested in music?
So a long time ago, in like 2007-ish,
okay,
a friend of mine, he had a bass guitar at our mutual friend's house. And he goes, anybody want that? And I said, sure, I'll take it. I had no idea, but it was a bass. So I started on bass.
Oh, wow. That's cool. I didn't know that. That's pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Bass is your roots then. Okay. Excellent.
Yeah. I did that for about a year-ish, 2 years. And then it just wasn't enough to express myself. So now, when
you were playing bass, because I know your musical interest today in 2020,
mm-hmm.
but back then you're playing bass. Did you start, when you start playing bass, did you start listening to certain bands as inspiration yet? Or were you just kind of playing whatever?
Just playing whatever. I played like theme songs, like one note theme songs just to get the melody down.
Okay.
On a bass. It doesn't make sense from a musician's point of view, but it's funny that it changed to a guitar. I wanted to be melodic, but I couldn't be melodic on a bass at the time.
Okay.
Makes sense.
I think you can definitely be melodic if you apply yourself, Eddie.
Absolutely.
Bass is melodic. A lot of people, bass gets a bad rap, doesn't.
Well, at the time, I'm like, this isn't the right instrument. So I played bass with a friend for a little bit. He was a guitar player, and he was in school. And my electronic class, I was in vocation, and over that summer, my friend was riding in the car. We were going to see one of the Fast and Furious movies at the time, and Van Halen's playing in the car, and he's making fun of it. He's making his own lyrics up, and I'm laughing. But during the movie, I'm sitting there, and that song stuck in my head. I was like, "That's a really good song." So I went home and tried to figure out what the hell the band was from the lyrics that I heard, and I found it, and I was like, wow, this band's pretty cool.
Wow. So is it fair to say the Fast and the Furious movies, that franchise, launched your musical career?
Technically speaking,
well,
yeah.
Well, no, because he heard the song before the movie, right?
Oh, I thought it was a scene in the movie that. Okay.
No. He said it was on the way to see the Fast and Furious. He heard it on the radio, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh.
on the ride there,
Yeah.
it was playing.
Okay.
See, Steve, you have to listen. You have to it's called active listening, Steve.
I listen during the editing process. I edit. I listen then. I just speak whatever comes to my mind, and I just spew it out. And then if it sticks, it sticks, and then I make it magic later.
See, I'm the brains of this podcast. Steve's just a pretty guy.
That's good.
That's
you
right.
gotta have yin and yang. It's right behind
You gotta have a good looking guy, and that's Steve. And I'm just the guy who knows his stuff.
Some people might mistake this for the Joe Rogan show with Steve on here.
That's true.
Wait, who am I? Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
I'm Joe Rogan. Yeah, I'm the Joe Rogan. He's more of the Jamie.
Yeah.
What's that drug he always brings up?
Huh?
Joe Rogan's always mentioning that drug.
He doesn't always mention it, but DMT.
DMT, yeah, that's a Joe Rogan. It's a Joe Rogan drug.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's funny you say DMT. I was actually just looking up Eddie. I know, like, I don't do hallucinogenic drugs or anything like that, but I'm fascinated by them. And there was like a documentary about like psilocybin mushrooms I was watching recently. And if you look up the a chemical formula, I don't know if have you heard of DMT? Do you know what DMT is? All right. Well, we'll have to we'll do part 2 at another day.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, DMT later conversation.
It'll be all about drugs and mushrooms. That's
right. But anyways, let's get back to basics. So are you working right now, Eddie? Are you just doing anything or?
Yes. So I am. I'm working from home. I'm one of the lucky ones, I guess.
Essential ones, unlucky ones, actually. Depending on how you look at it.
Both. Like I don't.
You have to work from home.
I'm for the shutdown. I wish it shut down in the beginning because this could have been all avoided. But
right.
I'm not gonna get into that either. But
yeah, I was debating on whether to make this like a political podcast at some point, but then that'd be so cool.
I try and stay out of that. But what I'm taking out of this is that I have the benefit to work from home, so I don't have to travel. I don't have to sleep. I don't have to lose sleep. I can just wake up and work. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm limited to what I can do, but I can do enough to keep busy and make sure the work flows where I work. And but I'm taking this time now. Obviously, as you can see, I've been practicing boxing and Jeet Kune Do, which is Bruce Lee style.
Nice.
Whoa. So there's actually that's mainly what Bruce Lee did in all those movies. All that.
Yeah. So that was not exactly. He like invented it called Jeet Kune Do. So he learned Wing Chun and he learned Chinese boxing. He was also a cha-cha dancer in the very beginning.
Wow.
I don't even know what that is.
Cha-cha dancing?
Cha-cha dancing?
Just from the sound of it sounds like cha-cha-cha. I
don't know what it is, and I know it's not that.
Okay, fine.
Unless it is.
That got his feet moving. So he took Wing Chun Chinese style and took Chinese boxing and brought it to America because at the time, people were ridiculing Asian Americans because it was during, post Korean War and around the Vietnam time.
Right.
He brought that to America and they were like, this stuff's good. But a lot of people gave him shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, in the early days, and they eventually grew into a legend.
Mm-hmm. Did you see that movie Once Upon a Time in America, the Tarantino movie?
I did not see it, but I heard the scene was with Bruce Lee.
It got some traffic because I guess the daughter was like, you didn't portray him right. My dad's not a jerk. All this stuff because they made him out to be like this cocky asshole.
Right.
So,
well, it's fiction, right? It's a fictional movie. So what?
Yeah, it is. It is a fictional movie. Literally,
all she can do is really protest. She can't really sue them, or maybe she could.
I don't know. But
no, I think she's just pissed. But my instructor was taught by one of his first regime students, so he's certified to teach the legit Wan Fan Gung Fu Jeet Kune Do.
Right.
So it's like the closest thing I can get.
This is nuts, dude. So I've just learned you have all this martial arts background. So what are your main art forms or disciplines with martial arts? What are your
There is really no true form if you let me get into it.
Okay.
When you get into a fight, you got to clear your head. And martial art is all cross training. So I've been doing this before I've done music, right? So you take the art style of martial art, you take the art style of painting, you take this art style of writing, yada, yada, yada. It's all cross training here. You see where I'm going with this?
Kind of
Yeah.
like it's almost like music. It's kind of like you said. Every martial arts, everything's cross discipline, but you can actually say that about like music theory too. It's like kind of the, if in a band setting, what scales to use, and some circumstances require different modes or scales, whatever. Same thing with a fight. I'm sure there's different techniques.
Depends how you play. See, in the bands that I'm in, when it comes to originals, we don't do modes. We don't do the rules. Believe it or not, I don't even know how to read music. No clue.
Yeah, I'm pretty rough. I'm pretty rusty myself. But I know, like, yeah, like you can definitely get away with it for sure. But
I mean, I have.
I had the chance of reading music. My mother's a piano teacher, and she was like, "Let me sit you down and teach you," and I was like, "Nah, fuck that."
But like,
think of this too. When you're inside a box, you can't get outside the box. So if you're already outside the box, you're not stuck inside that box.
That's true. Yeah.
So in like kind of what you said about fighting with it, kind of with music too, it's like, yeah, you can definitely get away with it and no one would even really know. But, but I feel like if you want to kind of expand your vocabulary really with music, those modes, those scales, like, yeah, it's kind of like tedious in the beginning, but once you know it back and forth, it just goes in the back of your mind and it becomes second nature. Right.
So I actually had a conversation with your previous guest, Chris. He came over here one time.
Okay.
Oh, Cardone. Yeah, Chris Cardone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of told me about. He's a great kid. He told me all about that stuff. He's like, I get your point of view. I was like that, but what you just said, Steve, once you learn the vocabulary, he said the same exact thing. You learn the vocabulary, and it's like a different appreciation of the art.
Exactly. And then from there, you can figure out that, wow, I was actually capable of way more than I thought. Because now I got all this stuff in my this new stuff in my toolbox. I can venture into new territories. I can I can definitely expand and express differently.
Right. Yeah. And the only thing that you kind of get, there's certain musicians. So going back to martial art teaches self-respect and discipline. In music, it's more of just like in the beginning, it's like a respect thing for yourself. There's a lot of musicians out there that don't have that discipline to go out and respect someone else's art. I mean, everybody's done it. I've done it. I've gone to a show with the same bill on some band, and it's like, I'm not going to listen to that band. To me, music, it's hard to find someone that's disciplined in music. If you kind of get what I'm aiming at here.
Yeah. Eddie, do you know who Victor Wooten is?
I don't.
So he's one of my main influences, pretty much the reason I even play bass. He's a world-renowned master at the bass, and he does a lot of he's done a TED Talk, a lot of different lectures here and there. But one of the TED Talks, and he always mentions this. He always his mother is this famous quote by his mother for people who know him, and she used to always say, "What does the world need with another great musician? We've got plenty of great musicians. We need great people." So that's kind of like tying into like the self-respect thing with martial arts, kind of applying to music. It's like anyone can really sit down and learn the scales and stuff and all that stuff, but it takes kind of that special type of person to really be that really good person. Because Victor, he's like a Grammy Award winner. He has every right to be kind of condescending if he wanted to, and people would be like, but he's Victor Wooten. He doesn't. He's so approachable. He's such a cool guy. Like, I've met him so many freaking times, and he's just.
So is he like a solo artist, or is he just like
He's everything. He's been in bands. Look him up after this podcast. Victor Wooten, man.
Check him out.
Pretty insane bass player. Yeah. He like transcends bass. He like does things that shouldn't even be done on it, or should be done on it.
Is he like the Alan Holdsworth of bass or something like that?
What's that?
Yeah.
Is he like the Alan Holdsworth of like bass?
Yeah, Alan Holdsworth. I've heard that name a lot lately. I got to check out his stuff. He's like one of my dad's friends. Like he's like if you want to listen to guitar or whatever, he's like, listen to Alan Holdsworth.
Yeah, so I'm really heavily, believe it or not, a lot of people don't know this. Steve does. I love instrumentals.
Mm-hmm.
Love Jeff Beck.
Yeah, some people. I feel like most people. That's like we're part of the 30% of the population. I think it's like we're in the minority for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I've shown there's a band, Animals as Leaders. Do you know that band?
Ooh, yeah.
What's that?
Ghost and Abasi?
Yeah, is he he's the lead guitar player, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a freaking beast, man. He plays.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Got 7 or 8 string guitar or something like that. But that album, The Joy of Motion by Animals as Leaders, that's such an incredible album, and that's something I can listen to front to back. But some people I've shown it to, they're like, yeah, but where are the words? I'm like, who cares? Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, let's face it. It's, as far as music goes, there's a big percentage of people who prefer vocals in a band. Some people just don't get instrumental. I mean, I think the three of us, we get it because we're so involved in music. Like, we can appreciate a really good piece of art that just has no, there's a song by Carlos Santana called Samba Pati, and it's just gorgeous. It's like one of my favorite songs of all time, and there's no words in it. So maybe it takes a certain person to get into something like that.
yeah,
Maybe it's the attention span of people. I don't know.
one of our previous guests was it James, who's the last guest on? Is it one of the
Chris Cardone?
No, this is after that. One of John's friends. She's like a solo artist.
Oh, Stephanie.
Oh, Stephanie James.
Yep, Stephanie
Yeah,
James.
so we had her on recently, and she was saying
She's
something.
great.
What's that?
She's great. I know her too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's really cool. Her music's really good too. But we talked. She mentioned she saw John Lennon. Not John Lennon. Jeez, John Mayer. She saw John Mayer one time, and John was talking about how the public knows more than you in terms of what a good song is. And I guess there is some truth to that in what sells and what can get out there. But I disagree in the part of what the public knows more what's good, because I completely disagree with that. There's plenty of amazing music that's not known. That's better than the top 40.
Well, you got to remember that it's all about marketing too, because it's how a song is delivered to you. For instance, if you listen to any great album by any artist and you like the deep tracks and those weren't released as singles, you know what I mean? It's like that. Usually when I'm listening to an album, I tend to like deep tracks rather than what the single was, because I went in and I took the time to look at it. But the band and the record company decided, hey, this is the one. And they're telling you, the listener, this is the song you should buy. But that's not what we want. It's like, it's all the way it's delivered to you. It's interesting how marketing can really change that for you.
Yeah, and Derek and I have had that debate many times. It's like, do people like this because they really just like it naturally, or did they like it because they were just pushed into liking it on a kind of subconscious mass scale?
People like to dance. So my thing is, if you're on the dance floor, you have a drink in your hand, you're going too fast and you're dancing, your drink's going to fall. If you're playing too slow, your drink's going to fall and the drink's going to spill.
All right. So, I guess we all like to spill our drinks and we think it's cool.
Yeah.
I'm saying for general audience, that's usually what it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
People like to move, or
definitely
do like to listen, but most of those shows are sitting down.
I think most people are boring. That's the problem. I
that's
think we just
probably
have boring population
in
on our hands.
Boring people get bored.
That's
true.
That's great.
That's true. There's a lot of truth in that statement.
Yeah, that's
I could find anything to keep me excited. You know what I mean? Even just like sitting there doing nothing, I still have my thoughts.
Right.
So I'm still never really bored because I have a crazy fucking brain. Not in a positive way, but in like a negative way.
He's like, it's a problem.
It's an issue. I have issues, but anyway, I wanted to get on to something else. And correct me if this is completely off, Eddie. But were you born in the Netherlands?
No.
Okay. Okay. I just dropped my phone. Okay. I'm glad. Okay. So, because I saw on you, because I was looking, I do some research on everybody who comes on, and I went to your Facebook page and it said Netherlands, and I'm like, huh?
So you just dug up the biggest lie on my Facebook.
Okay. All right.
That is where Eddie Van Halen is born.
Where who was born?
That is where Eddie Van Halen is born.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Wow, I didn't even. I just always assumed he was just an American born. Wow, that's a surprise.
So does it say are you making it seem like you were born in the Netherlands, but it's really just a covert,
It's fun.
I did that when I made it in high school. Whenever I made Facebook, I made it just as a joke, and I just left it on because it's kind of funny.
I was like, I don't know if this is true, but I'll ask. All right. So okay.
We look like someone from the Netherlands. You could easily, if you said that, I'd be like, oh no, that makes sense.
I was gonna say, if you had said yes, I would have been like, okay, well, I'm right, of course. But I'm wrong.
Oh well.
So you've been in 3 different bands since I've known you, probably more than that, because I only met you at obviously a certain time in your life. But when I did meet you, you were in a band called Invalid Heroes with our now guitar player John Chesbro. Then you were in a band called Top Down, which had some another member of Invalid Heroes in it, and now you're in the Roadrunner band. Let's talk about that a little bit. So I feel like this band you're currently in is Eddie. I feel like this is finally, not that the other bands you weren't doing your thing in, because you absolutely were in Top Down and Valid Heroes. Maybe you were still trying to find, like, you wanted to do what you wanted to do, but Roadrunner band, I feel like this is your band. It's what you want to do. Is there any truth to that?
Absolute opposite, believe it or not.
Really? Okay. Holy shit. Okay. I'm 0 for 6 in this podcast, man. All right.
Yeah,
He's like wrong again.
It's not like it's a bad thing. I love playing in that band. You know what I mean? But cover bands, there's like tiers to bands, right? You have the cover bands, you have the tribute bands, and you have the original bands. If you go back down, the cover bands have that large local, attendance, right? And then you have that tribute band that's probably your best bet, right?
I would say so, yeah.
I mean, the tribute band, you can, because everybody knows the music. If you're in a Van Halen tribute band or a Beatles tribute band, whatever you name it, everybody knows the songs. They're there for the music, not you. When you're an original band, you get both. But that's one of the hardest things to accomplish. Is to get
for sure.
It's like the first two are definitely they're definitely the more easier route, the less friction. If you go with a cover band, then you go to the tribute band. There's less friction there. There's less friction in getting an audience, getting a turnout. I would dare say it's easier to be in a cover band and tribute band. The hardest thing, we know firsthand, and the hardest thing to do in this day and age is to be an original band. Trying to make it is the hardest thing.
And the reason why it's so hard is look at who our idols are. You know what I mean? Steve's idol's Victor Wooten. Yours is Eddie Van Halen. Mine's, whoever, John Lennon or whatever, Stevie Wonder. Like, these people are so creative to the point where some of us just can't get up on stage and just play covers all night. You want to write your own stuff. And then eventually you get like a little bit of an ego and you're like, you know what, maybe this is pretty good. I want to play it out. And then, the Cosmic Vultures were almost all original now. When we pull out a cover, the crowd reacts in a big way. And I'm like, fuck them. I seriously say that in my brain.
Yeah.
We pulled out Valerie by Amy Winehouse, and we did it our own way. And the crowd got up and they were dancing, and everyone was happy except for me.
It's that tempo. It's that BPM.
Yeah, and I think that the secret sauce to being a live band is it's really like giving a dog his pill wrapped in bacon. It's like you gotta give the audience the originals, but you gotta wrap it in that cover bacon. You gotta hit some.
Yeah, you got to. And I kind of expressed that in the early stages of, late stages of Invalid Heroes. They were so, we'll get into that another day, obviously, but they were so involved with the originals, which is fine. We never got to the point of we did a few covers, actually, believe it or not. But we didn't really learn, no one wanted to learn anything. They were just like, let's do originals. I'll say one thing about that band, I'll leave it for another time, obviously, but that band was good. It was just, we were young. I was inexperienced. That was my first band that played out. And it was almost like making a stew with too many ingredients. You're like, oh, this smells good. And you eat it. It's just like, what?
It's way too much salt.
Yeah.
But it's not, it wasn't bad ingredients, using salt and pepper and a bunch of other stuff. But other than that, that's kind of what happened with that. It was a little too much of everything.
And that's what happens in your first band. You're still figuring it out. And like you said, it's your first band, but you learn those valuable lessons, and you transition into the next project. You know what I mean?
Right. And I was playing with John before Invalid Heroes.
Oh, okay. So you guys just jam like by just you two?
Yeah. He still wants to do the instrumental stuff here and there. I haven't talked to him recently, but he's mentioned it like about a year or so ago.
Yeah,
he's bring it up. You know how he is.
Yeah, we kind of talk about on the podcast. It's kind of like a recurring theme. One of the main purposes of the podcast is to not only see what other musicians are doing, collaborate, and see what they're up to. One of the goals is sometimes we hope to actually work with other musicians. So when you say John's looking to do that instrumental, first thing that popped in my mind, hey, we should maybe in the future sometime we can all get together in the attic. We'll just start recording some avant-garde improv stuff, see what comes out. You know what I mean? And kind of maybe make some music, because that's kind of what the goal is. We want to make music with the other musicians in the community.
Why not, right? What else are we gonna do? I mean, you can take this time as an example. All this like this downtime. So this is like a term that I use with the martial art, because I also studied the art of like Zen and mastery, right?
Oh yeah.
So there's a term that's called slowing down to go faster, right? So we are in this time right now where everything is stopped, right? You have this view of the world, but you have this stupid virus that's right in your face, and everybody's like, oh my God, I can't do anything. It's a big excuse people use it for, right? Mm-hmm. So why not build your gym? Why not practice your scales or your modes or whatever, or write new music? Yeah. But people are trying these excuses to point fingers, and it's a political game. It's, the coronavirus is fake or the coronavirus is real. I don't care. I don't even watch that stuff anymore. I really don't. Mm-hmm. I threw that virus out the door many weeks ago.
Yeah. And that's a really good philosophy. It's like, what are you going to do? Worry about it all day? It's like, if you're inside, do something, like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Why we had nothing else to do. So we're like, all right, let's just start a podcast. So now we're on episode 9 or whatever. And now it's just something, make the most of it. I'm even thinking about starting my own online radio station. I have a name picked out and everything. And I'm actually looking up licensing and what that's going to cost. Because I've always, since a kid, I've always wanted to have my own radio station to play. Because my biggest thing, I listen to radio station, I'm like, that's not what I want to hear. And I was like, oh, imagine if I could have my own. So now it's like obviously with the internet, it's, it's actually easier than you would think. But actually, that's kind of
you're on the right track. You're on the right track. You got to work on your voices.
I know.
Yeah.
My voice.
This is Steve Constantino with the late night jazz session.
WB59, Boston's classic rock with Derek Smith. But yeah, I was just gonna say, you had mentioned the instrumental stuff with John. Honestly, I mean, I think everybody in my band, our band, knew that where I started from, so everyone kind of knew that I was into what kind of music I was into, and I was writing like folky stuff because I started using the acoustic guitar more often, so that was just where my roots were. So I think everybody kind of knew when I released my solo project, it was kind of going to be folky. But when John released his, it was like super ambient. And I like almost didn't expect that from him, because I mean, I'm with him a lot, but I didn't figure that he would do something like that. So that kind of surprised me.
That's where me and him kind of connected in Valid Heroes. We have like this weird instrumental take. He loves ambient music. I love a thing called synthwave, which is heavy on like these old 80s like keyboards and stuff like that. Really cool stuff that no one has probably actually heard about.
Is that kind of like vaporwave, Eddie?
You got it.
Yeah, I really like vaporwave. It's weird and it reminds me of the 80s.
Was it the Simpsons thing you used to watch?
Yeah, Eddie, have you heard of Simpsons wave? It's essentially vaporwave over looped clips of
it's like detuned. It's like this weird like
it's almost like it has this relaxed eeriness to it, and it's weird.
It reminds you of like jazz mixed with like house music or something.
Yeah, I didn't know you liked were into that, Eddie. That's pretty cool.
I love synthwave, and I'm into like it gives you, to me actually, it gives me a nostalgia feel, because I was raised in the 90s, and it reminds you of like old school like mall stuff, or like old school like cartoons from the 90s, like Fox Kids and shit like that. That's what it kind of like reminds you of that time.
Yeah, that's why I like the which is probably why they made it in the first place, the Simpsons wave. It's just old school, like season 6 episodes of like, they just have like Lisa should just be walking back and forth in a loop over this cool, chill.
It's a filter. There's a website that has the filters, and it's pretty cool.
Oh, really? Yeah. What website is that? Because I want to do it. Do you know it?
Don't tell me.
If you don't worry about it. You can.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I know it. Trust me, I've used it.
Send me a link, dude. Yeah, I actually want to do that. I'm gonna put a vaporwave filter over this entire podcast, and I'm gonna put it.
But yeah, no. There's a band that's not. I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's a person. I mean, it's a person, but I don't know if it's a solo guy or if it's like a band. But there's a guy called Hello Media. That's my favorite.
Hello Media.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll check him out. Check it out.
Yeah, but I'm also in the retro wave stuff too. So it's like a lot of the what's the good one? There's a guy called like Mitch Murder. It's like this like the 80s like action music kind of a thing. It's wicked funny.
Okay, that's pretty sweet. Oh,
like
Yeah,
that.
this is a different talent. No one really know. Like people just think of me as like the rock and roller, which I
yeah,
can
because I would think that surprises me because I see you more like you're the technical guy. You're that almost like progressive rock, really kind of in your face kind of style. So it's surprising that you say like vaporwave. What have you ever tried to incorporate that style of music in your playing? Via effects or any kind of stuff like that.
So I'm pretty natural when it comes to guitar playing. I'm usually just pretty much chord into the amp.
Mhm.
But the closest thing that I got to of doing some kind of anything was the Vigilante song in the beginning. But I didn't even play the keyboard, as that was Alex. Alex played. I was like, dude, that's so much more involved with it, but whatever. I just left it in.
Okay.
And but I wanted to do more with keyboards there. I had a lot of stuff written down for it, but maybe in the future.
Yeah, that's
Wait,
always.
so you guys worked with, was it Alex Allenson?
Yep, we work with them.
That's right. That's right. You work with him. That's right. Yeah. It's so funny how many artists that we know around the area have worked with Alex, like at least on one project.
It's like
Um,
everybody works with Alex. It's crazy.
it's because he's a cool guy and he knows his shit and stuff. And his studio is
Yeah,
like
the
really
studio's pretty
comfortable.
sweet. I really liked.
Comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
sound.
I went there because you guys went there. I was like, oh shit, they went there. Let's just go there.
That's funny. We went there because another band went there. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I think so. I think we
They went-
did. We heard that the band went there. It's like a train of like Alex is getting all these like different like customers because like just a word of mouth, I guess. But
He deserves it. He deserves it.
yeah, he's the man.
We
Sure.
went in there for I'll tell you the process. Me and Dalton went in there the first day for 12 hours, and I did the guitar. Well, Brian, we did the guitar. So I didn't know how the recording worked really because I never really done it, and I went in thinking like Van Halen, like guitar, and that was it. He's like, no. I was like, so I went in. I did the first guitar track. I was like, all right, cool, on to leads, right? He's just like, no, we gotta do bass. So then we did the bass, and then he's like, and you gotta do the other side of the guitar. So I played all the songs over again, and then I did the leads, and then Dalton and Brian are sitting there having a good time while I'm doing like 3 different things all day.
yeah.
So believe it or not, instrumentally, that EP, the Top Down EP, was done like instrumentally in 12 hours.
Damn.
Holy crap.
You got, yeah. I mean, obviously, you guys knew your shit before you went in, and that's like super important. So I'm assuming Dalton started it with the drums.
It was me and him at first.
Okay. Okay. So you guys, and then I'm assuming Steven came in as another day and did the vocals.
Yeah, I think he did. I think we did like 3 or 4 sessions. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was like 3 6-hour sessions with Steve and us on backing vocals.
Right. Did you guys think when the EP was completely finished, how would you grade that album just as somebody being in it? Did you think that was up to your expectations? Because the only reason why I ask is because our first recording thing was with Alex, and now we do it by ourselves, and there's just so much difference between the two of them.
Right.
And with Alex, he did his job, he did it good. I had a problem with conveying my thoughts to him. So when it was done, I was like, I liked it. I thought it was good, but now that we've done it ourselves, we know how much time we can take. We know we can sit down and talk about it. There's just so much more time. It's expensive to record, so that's why I ask.
Nothing against Alex, but I think the stuff you guys do at John's place sounded better than the first one.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, yeah, because in Mariana, we really took our time with that. With Alex, it was a cool experience, and it was like, if we had the funds, we'd be there all freaking
right.
Like you guys, we did it in like 16 hours or something like that. It was
over 2 days. Yeah.
There's this time pressure thing going on in the back of your head, which if you got, if you know exactly what's gonna you want laid down on tape,
yeah. Again, going back to the martial arts stuff, I was calm. Like I learned that a long time ago. So like I went in there with this empty mind and just did what I had to do. The only thing that was worrying me was that Run Tommy Run, I had no leads ready for it. So that's all improvised on that song, the leads.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So you went in there kind of willy-nilly and just kind of did some stuff while you were there.
Yeah. But I mean, most of those tracks we practiced an assload out of it before we went in. And then, so we were ready for most of it, but that Run Tommy Run was like just written at that time.
No way.
And we were going through, Dylan he left the band actually. He just wasn't. He's a guitar player, and unfortunately, it's just like, I'd be like asking me to play bass for somebody. It's like after a while, I'd be like, how long do you need me here for?
Yeah.
Because I'm not a bass player. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's respect there. Like, it's just what it is. And so it was a funny story about Brian, who's in Roadrunner now. So the kid so listen to this, ready? So my friend who gave me the bass way back when, in 2007, 2008, right? So now you fast forward to like 2015, 2016 when we needed a bass player, right? So Dalton's hanging out with this other like cover band or whatever, and they invite me to go over and jam with them. I'm like, is Dalton gonna be there? Because I don't really know who this person is. And they're like, no, yeah, Dalton will be here. Just come by. I'm like, okay. So I came by, and the address was my friend's house. I was like, is this the right address? So I went to the house, and sure enough, it's my friend's house. And I was like, because my friend's very like quiet about everything. And I went in. I was like, yo, does my friend Mike live here? And they're like, yeah. He's like, I'm married to his. So Brian's father goes, oh, well, I'm married to his sister. I'm like, what? I was like, what the heck? So I went downstairs and met Brian. He's like, well, no, he's like my step uncle. I'm like, oh, okay, so it's your stepmom. Okay. So he had this whole like family that I had no idea about all these years. And he's lived in the same house with these people for so long. I never go over to the kid's house. So now, like, when we need a bass player, all of a sudden Brian was there. I was just like, you play bass? He's just like, yeah, I'm all right. I'm like, come over tomorrow or whatever, because we need a bass player to record. And he played, and me and him don't remember learning that stuff. Like, I don't remember teaching him.
Really?
He just kind of heard it and was like, okay, I get it.
I mean, I do remember teaching him. Like, there was a grind time, and like I just nailed those 5 songs into his head for days upon days, and we went in and recorded it, and he would fit right in like a glove.
Nice.
Yeah, it's crazy how same thing happened to us with our new drummer Akiba. We had known him from a previous band, and it's funny, like months and months ago, probably a year ago, 2 years ago, something like that, actually, we played with him, and he messaged me, and he was like, hey, any openings in the Vultures to like do something? And I was like, because I know he's an amazing drummer, but I know he plays keyboard too. And I was like, maybe you can come over and play keyboard with us or whatever. And he's like, yeah, maybe, whatever. And then years later, we needed a drummer, and we called him, and he was like, absolutely. And I'm not even joking, Eddie. He learned like 25 songs in 2 weeks. It was insane to see somebody move that fast. He's one of those guys, and Steve's another guy like this, because I can bring a song in to Steve and say, here are the chords, and he's like, whatever, I got it. And I'm like, whoa, okay. There's just some people who just get it, and for me, I have to be like, whoa, what's the chord structure? What's this? Akiba was sitting there, and he was like, no, we'll just play it once. I'll just follow along. I got it. That part there, no problem. Next song. I was just like, damn, there's some musicians out there that are just like, they just understand, kind of like with you in martial arts, like now you just have an understanding of things. Mm-hmm. Some people have that with music so easily and quickly, like it's almost scary.
Well, again, it's a cross training. So martial arts overlaps everything. You know what I mean? It's like, again, it's cross training. So it's like, you learn how to also like not spread yourself thin. That was a big thing with music as well in bands. Is certain people, if I say the word balance, they might get scared. But if you have balance within your life, you're not gonna have any problems. That's like the number one rule in my life.
Yep. I think that's the key of life, is that word balance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I 100% agree, because you can go too far to the left, too far to the right. You know what I mean?
And then you have different people that want to master a certain way. So like you have someone that's called like a dabbler, who is like someone that, he'll go, he'll paint, he'll play music, he'll work out, he'll do this, he'll do that. He wants to do all these things to get this peak climactic moment, and then done. And he's just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I can do something else now. And he climbs up the ladder again and drops down. And then you have someone
that's cool. There's nothing wrong.
There's not a lot of Da Vinci's anymore.
Right. And you have someone like me, who's like someone like, it's like the obsessor, who likes to get involved with something, and you kind of have like this weird, like, and it goes up and it goes down, it goes up, and it goes, it's just like you stay consistent.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and that's kind of like that's the beauty of it all. It's like if you can go down that path, if you can master one thing and it's more turbulent, or if you want to go more centered and balanced, it's whatever you want.
That's what we're dealing with now, is just a lot of turbulence in the world. So we just got to get past it and just don't look at it in the face. Throw it away.
Yeah,
it's all negative energy, and that's what also martial arts teaches you, is that it just, I always have a positive thought in my mind. If you have like a negative thought upon something, make it positive. Make it work so you can win. Make it so you can have success.
Wow.
That's a big thing too, is using that word win. I used to look at like my eating habits and be like, okay, well, that month I pretty much lost every single day. Now I do it like as if I'm playing baseball. I'm like, I need more wins than losses in this season of my life. And and now that my diet's been so good since I've been home, and because I'm furloughed until like June 26th, I was like, as soon as I got home, I was like, okay, I can't sit on the couch and be a lazy fat piece of shit. I have to not balance my life right now. I have to get to that point, but right now I have to fix my problems. And I turned in, because I don't want to work out, and I was like, but if I work out, it will balance my life a little bit. I won't eat crap all the way through, and then that'll help if I work out a little bit. And then I just started eating healthy, and I'm like, now everything is just going in that right direction. And I'm still enjoying things once in a while, so it's still a balance for the most part. And I'm like, this is going to keep me alive, So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to have like, no, you're not going to have a perfect day every day. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are good because you guys are musicians, you guys are artists, but there's so many people out there in this world that are like, I call them like the wanderers. The wanderers just go out, they go to work, they come home, they watch TV, they watch Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, whatever order it is, and then they go to sleep, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a trap. You get caught in that trap.
Exactly, but it's not like they don't have any, success in mind. It's just they have these concrete excuses to blame on, like, oh, I have kids, I can't do that. Or I can't afford that and stuff like that. Make it work. That's the hard truth, though.
Yeah, and I was gonna say it's a bad time in a way, but it's like you said, you make it positive. It's like, when is the next time you're ever gonna get for the people who are furloughed? When is the next time you're gonna get a month off? When are you gonna get 2 months off? You can accomplish so much.
I was hoping for this for so long. I wasn't hoping for a disease to come by any means. I was hoping I'd be at work, and I was like, I just wish I could take some time off to get my life in order a little bit, my health in order. And this happened. I'm off for 2 months, and I was like, this is somebody just handed me the WWE championship belt. Like, I'm the champion. I got this, like, I have this opportunity now to absolutely run with it. And I was like, I have to do this. And I've done it for the last 2 weeks, and now I'm at the point where I'm like, wow, I'm so happy this happened. Obviously not about the people who are dying from this shit,
right.
But like,
Mm-hmm.
you're right. It's like, this is the biggest opportunity for a lot of people. And for some, I didn't want to go off into this tangent, because I know we don't want to talk about it, but like, I'm getting pissed off to the point where, like, I'm getting this unemployment money, and it's enough for me and my wife, and she's not working. And I'm like, I'm getting paid a lot to sit at home when there's fucking people working in supermarkets who are so, depressed, and they're like right in the mix of things. They're not getting paid shit. And I'm like, it's so ass backwards. It's.
And yeah, we don't want to get involved with that, but I totally agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get some hazard pay or something.
Too, it's like, we're slowing down to go faster. So we got to get through that turbulence to keep going.
Yep.
So stay back, read your opponent, right?
Yeah.
Execute.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like that. I love this.
And everybody has their own opponent, and it doesn't have to be a physical person. It could just be a demon that's on your shoulder, and everybody has them. It's like, you got to look at your opponent and say, how can I beat you every day? How can I finagle around it? It's so true.
And you can't, it sounds so corny, but you can't be negative about it, because when you are, an ordinary day turns into a tragic day every day.
Right.
And that's not good. And I watched the your most recent one with Chris, and you brought up a good point, Derek, which I went through a while at shows. We'd play shows, and it was like a good show, and I'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's because we expect more from, especially because, like, I think you're in the same boat as we are, where we don't play that many shows. Like, it was kind of a once in a while thing, maybe once every 2 weeks. So when that comes up, you expect, like, okay, this is it. This is my chance to do whatever. And I'd always feel like I didn't do, we didn't come across as what we wanted to, or there wasn't enough people there, or no one came up to me and said this specific thing to me because, and then like Chris said, it's like you have to be happy with what you're doing. You know, find a way to be satisfied.
We'll be in those.
Well, I looked at it this way. I said, I kind of convinced myself. I said, look, I looked like the stage is like the holy like altar, right? You know what I mean? Like that's who we live to play for, right? And we dump everything out on that stage, right? You are mentally and emotionally drained after a show most of the time, which is probably why some people like you and me will be like, I love the, like, say if I'm playing with you guys, like I've done it. I've walked out on you guys sometimes. I'm like, it's not anything against these guys. Like, I need to go home. Like, I'm good. Like, I just don't want.
No, we get it. That's,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We get it.
That's, I think that's completely normal. Yeah, I mentioned that too. Like, sometimes I can't, you know, even if my friends are up there, I did my thing. I can't, I have to go be by myself for a while and figure it out in my head. You know, it's, I don't know. That's why sometimes like I like just going to, like, I remember you used to pop into some of our shows and like you weren't even playing or whatever. And that would be a cool moment for me, because I'd be like, here's a friendly face or somebody that I know, and it just made me feel a little bit better about it. Like, okay, you know, this is someone who appreciates music regardless of what it is. And I think Chris was saying something about like just kindred spirits regardless of what music it is. Because I think you and me, Eddie, I think like, you know, we don't have the exact same taste in music, but I think we got to the point where we like appreciate each other just because we're in the same craft and we understand it.
Exactly.
You know,
and I always make fun of, like, I had a post recently about like the houses of like musicians, and everybody that had a Beatle in it. I make fun of the Beatles all the time, and I don't want to get started with you because you're gonna probably kill me. But I was like, I always keep replying and say, no Beatles in my house, no Beatles in my house. But I respect the Beatles, so don't take that as a negative point of view.
No, not at all. I think it's, you know, it's I think it was have you ever seen the movie High Fidelity?
I have not. With
John Cusack. If you're a fan of music, just watch this movie. It's him talking to the camera, and he's always doing a top five playlist. He's like, here are my top 5 girlfriends that I had in my life. Here's my top 5 artists that I listened to on a Monday morning. And he goes through different phases where I think, I forget, it was his girlfriend asks him a question and she's like, what are your top 5 jobs that you take in your life? And they all revolve around music. And he's like, I'd like to be a record producer between 1977 and 1981 because of these 5 artists. And then maybe my other job would be working during the Motown era in the 60s. And for me, I'm the same way. I appreciate every single era of music for what it is. And I look inside. I love to see like why it happened, what's going on, who were the main artists, and then how it transformed into the next batch of artists. Like for me, the Seattle scene in the early 90s, like that grunge thing, I like to go back and see, okay, who was Kurt listening to? Who was Kurt listening to get that sound? And the late 80s were big for the early 90s era, of course, but it's so interesting to see how things molded into each other. And now music, right now, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on in pop music, but but it's interesting.
The problem right now, unfortunately, is actually technology. Technology is it's climbing, and not a lot of people are seeing it. We love technology. We love looking at screens. You know, it's like and going back to the slowing down to go faster. Before all this was happening, everybody says this. Well, my life was getting kind of it was getting good. Like I feel like I was going somewhere. I talked to a lot of people about that, and they said the same thing. But before all this happened, everybody's like, we got to do this. Go, 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 go. We got to book shows. We got to do this. We got to do this. I got to go to work. I got to eat. I got to do this. I got to do that. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. And you get, and that's like the typical 9-to-5 style. You get like burnt out. And the problem is, never get a chance to chill, or because not many people can take.
Or you can't explore what you wanted to do. You don't have enough. I don't have enough time in the day to do my stuff when I'm at work. I'm losing 8 hours a day.
Yeah, and you just stop.
Look at how we as a people adapt to things, right? So Facebook came along, and it was supposed to be this app that was like, oh, connect with your old college buddies, connect with your old high school friends, and it was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, I haven't seen Joe Schmo in a long time. That's kind of cool that we're connected now. And now people are just, all we do is Facebook now. It's like there was a point in my life where I think I had my laptop open and I was on Facebook. And then as I was looking at Facebook, I was like, yeah, fuck this. One on my phone to Facebook. And I was like, all right, there's a fucking problem here. Like it's an addiction. Adapting to things and then making it an addiction is really scary. I always think of the movie Shawshank Redemption, when that the old guy who has the bird, he like gets let out of prison, and he's like, I've never seen a motor vehicle before. I never seen one, and it's too fast. Everyone got into a big damn rush, and then he wanted to go back to prison because he felt like it was his comfort zone. And it's like scary how like, people in New York City, like life moves really, really fast there in Boston, and we live that lifestyle. But people out in the Midwest are like, oh yeah, take a look at that bird. That bird's pretty cool. And everything's slow moving, and it's like, hell, maybe that should be the way it is.
You don't know. Again, going back again to the balance.
The balance of it, yeah, absolutely.
You have to learn.
People don't look up to the sky and check out the clouds and the flowers, and like sometimes it's all just TV, junk food, and whatever, and movies. It's not what's outside, what's nature like. Balancing it out. I mean, I try to do that as best as I can, is to be like, hey, let me just go do something else that's not internet based. But it's tough because we're molded into this right now as in the generation.
With technology, it's like it has these benefits, but using martial arts terminology, we've been doing this all the time. It requires discipline, just like anything. It's nothing different than anything else. It requires discipline.
That's the two rules: is respect and discipline.
Yep, and it's applicable to everything, really. If this, because people don't they don't really think it applies to technology because it's just a new thing. Oh, it doesn't apply to that. That's just my smartphone. Of course it does.
Right.
100% applies to that. Applies to everything you do. You know what I mean? I was gonna say, Eddie, do you practice Buddhism at all?
No, I'm not really into that stuff.
Okay. Well, it seemed like you were, because it sounds like those are kind of martial arts, Buddhism. They kind of have similar.
Yeah, it is.
Things.
I don't really like. It's not like I'm not a Buddhist. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've read some of that stuff. What I do read is it's Taoism. It's called the Tao Te Ching.
I read about Taoism.
That's just more, again, that's just philosophy. That's just more philosophy of the art and the art of life.
What I think it was really cool about martial arts is like there's a difference between philosophy and because it doesn't really include your body necessarily. So I feel like martial arts combines philosophy and physical strength.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, there's a truth to it, because it's a hard truth. If you don't put your hands up, you're gonna get hit in the face. It doesn't matter what's coming at you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a universal law. You know what I mean?
Right. And it's like when you walk into that dojo, right? You have a teacher. Right then and there, the second you bow, you are learning this right then and there.
From the very start.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep. I like it.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. It's I don't know. Life's interesting. Like I was talking about, like my diet earlier, like discipline, like every night at the same time, every night I'm so stupidly hungry. Is it my brain, or is it because all my life I would eat around this time? I would pull out a snack and eat it when I shouldn't eat at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. So now my body's going through like withdrawals of like, okay, you're hungry, Derek. You always do this at this time. Why aren't you doing this right now? And my brain and my stomach are working together to punch me in the face. And then I'm like, let's just drink some water and see what happens. And then take my mind off of it and play a video game. And then an hour later, I'm like, holy shit, that fucking hunger's gone. And it's like, all I needed to do was get distracted.
So what you're doing, right? You are slowing down to go faster. Once you're out of this, you're going to have a new routine to eat better and stay healthy, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So if I was going to the gym all the time with my bass player. And when you go to a gym, you don't work out the same muscles all the time, do you? No.
Right.
The rule is do it maybe for a few weeks, 3 to 6 weeks, whatever it may be. Then just like throw a curveball. Do like squats first instead of benching or something. Your body's gonna be like, what are you doing to me? Because your body gets in that routine in that stage, and you get so used to it, and you throw something like this virus at us, and you're like, whoa, like what am I actually doing during my my time during the day?
Right.
Right. And I think bodies are so hooked up on habits that, I mean,
Right.
I went from eating absolute dog shit to like unbelievable. And I got scared because I'm like, every time I do this, there's a point where I break and I say, I can't do this anymore. I'm going too hardcore into the other side. And so now I feel like each night I go to bed thinking, you know what? I can't say that I deprived myself of anything today, because I ate pretty good food today. Like I had healthy food, but it was pretty good. And I didn't eat junk food, but I think today was a balance, and tomorrow morning I'll get up thinking that yesterday was another W, not a loss.
Right.
But
trying to self-conquer ourselves. That's also martial arts. You need to self-conquer yourself. Because, and also too, like, it's your body. Like, you should treat it well. You get, like, your body deserves a healthy life. You know what I mean? Like, that's a gift.
Yeah,
So
Steve always makes that joke. He's like, your body is like your car. He's like, you don't put you don't put milk in the car, you put gasoline in it. So you got to give it what's right. Or whatever the analogy was.
We only get one unless we invent body transplants.
Or reincarnation is real.
Unless they can just make new bodies in the future, which is probably possible, but it's not possible yet. So you got to treat the one you got with respect, Eddie. You got to
exactly, self-respect, and then that turns into discipline, and then it turns into all the circle. That's all what Zen is about, is a full circle, the life circle.
This is so cool, man. Yeah, it's so cool that you're into this, guy. I didn't know this. I didn't know this part of you, Eddie. This is like this whole new self-mastery part is, and it's really
not a lot of people do.
This is why we do this. We learn more about our fellow musicians every day. So that's such a cool part of this podcast. Like, I have no idea. I know about it.
And you know what, Eddie? I've never even looked at you as a musician friend. I've looked at you as just a friend because we have a lot in common. I remember when I showed you my Game of Thrones weapons, and like, I remember you were like, because I know you're big into like Spider-Man and Marvel and stuff, and I love the pictures you post when you go to like conventions and stuff. Like, it's the coolest thing because like it's another world. It's like it's just living. Because I'm a big fantasy guy. I have friends who are so obsessed with LARPing, and I'm like, wow, man, like you into LARPing? Are you into LARPing? It's such a crazy, not I don't mean crazy in a negative way, because I would actually do LARPing if I had the chance to. It's such another world out there to like just live in another world, and
I didn't do the role play part. We just we were in middle school and we found out remember that old video of the lightning bolt guy?
Yeah.
So we were like, oh, let's just do that. So we went to Home Depot. We got a bunch of PVC pipe. We got 6-inch foam and duct tape, and we beat the shit out of each other, all of our friends. It was a whole run.
Yeah. As soon as I remember seeing, this is a really bad movie, but Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Hey, don't make fun of that movie.
No, well, I mean, I would say, in the scheme of all the other movies, I found that maybe at the time too, when I first started, I thought it was boring for most of the movie. I probably can appreciate it now, but the end fight with Darth Maul, I think me and my cousins went out and bought fake lightsabers and played with each other and I was like, okay, I was always the bad guy. I'm like, okay, you guys are the Jedis and I'm the evil Sith Lord. Let's fight.
Who wouldn't want to be a Sith Lord?
And that's why I did theater in college, and I was always a villain in every play I did.
So that was my passion before music, believe it or not. I wanted to be an actor. I was an acting. Yeah, and I was all in a bunch of acting classes in freshman year of high school. But the thing was, I didn't want to do all what came with normal high school. So they gave, you had to do so many credits of gym or so many credits of foreign language. I said, I'm not doing that. So I found a way to get out of that, which was vocation. And turns out I did electronics. So I studied all the computers and AC/DC waves and stuff like that. Everything, microprocessors, all that shit. I did that 4 years.
Wow. Nice.
But it excluded all that stuff because you were in vocation school.
Right. Yeah. That was me with my degree. Yeah. And I went to the community college and I was like, I'm not good at math. I'm not good at science for some reason, but this job here, hotel management, this has not math or science. So I'll do this. And now I have a degree in hotel management and now I work in a warehouse. So
it's all right. That's just a piece of paper.
Right. Which I don't think I still have. I never picked. I graduated. I got the whole ceremony, but I think they still have my actual degree at the college, and I graduated 15 years ago or something.
But yeah, it's a wild ride. But it's crazy how I went from acting to martial arts again. Martial arts has always been involved, but recent years I've been really heavily into it for some reason. I think it's because I did the cover band a couple years ago. And the cover band's good, but I don't have the creative output like as an original band. You know what I mean?
Right.
Every time I stop something creatively, martial art comes back because it's always happening. So it comes back into this like brute force. So that's what's happening right now.
No way. Now we're in the martial arts cycle with Eddie. He's back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eddie, do you give lessons, martial arts lessons or classes?
I'm actually planning on doing that.
Oh, sweet.
If you want to do it on here or whatever, I can show you some stuff.
I remember John was saying that he wanted. Oh, okay. So there's one thing I was going to ask you about. What's your opinion on Krav Maga? Do you know
Krav Maga is it's helpful. It's realistic fighting.
Mm-hmm.
It's very dirty. It's a lot of low blows, and it's just it's pretty much almost killing the enemy. I think it's Russian.
It's actually I've heard it's Israeli.
Israeli, that's what it was.
Yeah,
okay.
Israeli.
What is that? Is that something? What exactly is that?
It's like rapid disarming, like shots. It's dirty.
It's meant to just like disarm. If someone's coming at you with a gun, it's meant to just whatever it takes. It's a super rapid attack, basically. But I've heard mixed things about Krav Maga. Some people think it's kind of not an authentic form of martial arts. And I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard good and bad. So that's why I was saying maybe someone like you might know better.
Do whatever fits. If you ever get involved with it, do whatever you want to do, because I've done all Chinese style. I never dove into the Japanese style or Brazilian or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's all Chinese. I've always done Kung Fu. It's all form and it's all self-expression. But this one I'm doing now, Jiu-Jitsu in boxing, this guy is real deal. We spar. We learn how to fight. We know how to block. We know real deal stuff. It's not a joke. It's very serious there. It's the same thing as like in here. You're at, and well, it's not really, I want to be really specific. A dojo is for Japanese. It's the room of enlightenment or something like that, they call it. But anyways, we take it very seriously there. But we learn off each other. You know, when you spar with people, you learn how to read people. You know what their habits are. You know where they're going to go. You know this, and this. It's all just, when you're in the ring, you learn how to read people. It's the same thing that applies to life. When you're out talking to people and it's all negative energy, you got to learn how to just calm yourself, right? And you just take it for what it is and you just react to it.
That's a powerful life lesson, man. That's not only, it's like what you do when you spar as well, obviously, but I think that's applicable outside of life too. And that's why.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think martial arts is the best. And I watched, Joe Rogan podcast a lot too. And he's into jujitsu, and he talks about doing a jujitsu class. And then after the class, so go, and you're just way more relaxed after, because you've gone through so much like physical activity. And it's almost that high intensity stuff. You're like super calm and chill, because most people don't get that experience fighting somebody in a controlled, not in a brutal, malicious way, but in a controlled environment, which is meant for self-improvement in a healthy way. Not many people get that experience. And so as a result, you get a lot of people stuck in traffic, and they're just like this at the wheel. They're like, all that.
That's a very good example, because they're just hidden in this car, so they can express themselves. Because I'm not going to get out and hit somebody or whatever. You know what I mean? That's just like, that's redundant. Some people do pull over sometimes, and they get out of the car and they try and whoop your ass. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like,
I was thinking like, I always thought that like if a kung fu guy fought a street fighter, it always reminded me of like somebody in control of themselves to oppose somebody who's a little bit, I guess, wild or uncontrolled. Like I used to do karate for years with my in Saugus, and we used to have a discussion all the time. I would bring it up. I'd be like, who would win in a fight, the best kung fu fighter of all time or the best street fighter of all time? And we would just go at it like verbally.
So what is it, Eddie? What's the answer?
What's the answer? Whoever is disciplined, because the smartest person in that out of those two would probably leave.
Oh,
that's a great thing. And when I first started karate, I thought it was about, yes, defending yourself. That was like my thing. I'm like, oh, I can learn how to fight. And then you start to learn about breathing and thinking and life. It's life. It's how to prepare you for life is what it is. And I always go back and think about high school and how high school did nothing for me educationally wise. It was all about I left high school and I was like, wow, I guess I know now how to deal with assholes. was what high school taught me in 4 years. But karate, kung fu, jujitsu, those types of things can teach you about life, is what I'm gathering and what I kind of always thought about.
If you read about the old, like, ancient Chinese civilization or Japanese civilization, they used to have belts, but it was only white belts. You know why?
Why?
Because the more experience you got, the dirtier your belt got. So they made you not
No way. No way.
Yeah, you were not allowed to wash the belt. So the dirtier the belt, the more experience you had. Just like as if like if someone like when we were raised as kids, right? We're told like, respect your elders, this and this, which obviously we should, because they have the experience supposedly, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there are plenty of 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds that don't have that experience anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, because it's not part of the culture anymore. It's
exactly. We're such a mixed culture now of America that, there's still plenty of hatred and terrible things going on in America.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of people our age and our generation, we're realizing what's happening. And what's happening is some of the younger folks are getting way more mileage than the people that have been living for the past 60, 70 years. They if you talk to as I call it, the wanderers,
mm-hmm.
everything they say is negative, or they say, oh, good luck with that. Like, you've probably heard it. Oh, I want to be a musician. You better find a plan B, son.
Yeah, exactly. And that's,
right.
Oh man, we all heard that. I'm sure growing up, you know what I mean? It's just this thing. Well, you got to go to college. You should be a plumber. Plumbing's cool. Yeah, you can make a lot of money. But
yeah, and we have a friend who was here a few episodes ago, John Fiore of Cooked Out. And like I said to him, they're one of the most active bands I've ever seen. And he's like, I want to try this. And I'm like, I hope more people are telling you this, but go fucking do it, man. And I hope you do it. I hope you get it, because it's not a lot of people who are older are like, they're trying to tell you like, listen, we know the music industry is not going to pay you well. It's not going to, less than 1% of people make it, whatever that even means anymore. But,
right.
Music is therapy,
Yep.
Yeah. In one of our last episodes with Chris Cardone, it's the opening scene. We're talking about how music, playing with other musicians, it's like this primal ritual, bringing out the primal nature in man.
Right.
It's really just like, to those people who say, oh, it's just only 1% make it. That's nonsense. Your definition of making it is playing it at the Super Bowl. Like, I don't want that.
Exactly. I don't want to do that.
I don't want to be on stage and lip sync.
Yeah.
Really quick question for you guys. What is like your master goal? Like, what's like the master goal for music?
I don't even really know. I know like our plan is just to keep making music and grow our brand. And that's why we do the podcast. And that's why I was talking about the radio show. I just want to, for me personally, I just planting seeds here and here, and like just keep expanding and expressing the art form. But I was gonna say for the people who think, oh, that only 1% make it. If you don't play in the Super Bowl, you're not making it. It's complete nonsense. You just ignored 99% of the pie. And to me, going back to that whole ritual thing, it's like they're ignoring the part that music is actually like when you play with especially other people, it's almost like group meditation, and then you can actually made audible through sound and your instrument. And that's the place most people should be taking this, because that's the true potential you can find within yourself. And it really is meditation. It's therapy. It does so much good for the soul. And everything you hear about quantum physics and all this stuff about everything's sound waves, and it's like it could go like, on my phone I have this background. You ever hear of cymatics, Eddie?
No.
Anyway, I'll show you, and I'll pull up a slide. Cymatics it's when you put you have a flat metal plate, right? And you put a bunch of salt as the medium, and then
yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
this sound, a diode is connected to the center of it, and they go up in frequency. 3,000 hertz is like freaking hexagons, and then they go up to 4,000, 5,000, and you get all these insane, crazy.
Yeah, I know you're talking about now.
Yeah, it's called cymatics. I don't know where I was going with that. I kind of went off on a tangent, but okay. Yeah. So basically, the whole music is way more than what we think. I think was my point.
Yeah, exactly. I was a little bit different, because when I grew up, of course, the first thing I ever heard was the Beatles. My dad had a cassette tape, and I put it in. It was the first thing I've ever heard, and I studied them, I learned them, and as I got older, I was like, in my brain, of course, was like, I want to be the Beatles, but it's something that's I realized how stupid it was to be like, I want to get to that level. But why do I want to get to that level? Is it the respect thing? What is it? And we got this band together, and I could be a hard ass sometimes and be like, we need to climb the ladder, guys. And for years I did that. I was like, we need to play better venues. We need to do better with merch, better with our website, better with this. And then I remember when our first EP came out and I had it in my hand. I was holding the CD that we got manufactured from CD Maker, whatever.com, and it was done by Alex Allenson. I looked at it and I was by myself and I started crying. And I went into the bathroom and I was looking in the mirror, and I don't know if anyone ever does that, but you look in the mirror when you're crying sometimes to like calm yourself down or something. And I knew at that pivotal moment that I was like, this is the best moment of my life. Like, this is mine. I made this with my buddies. This is all I care about, is just making albums. And then we made Mariana, and the same moment happened again. When we were finished it, I was like, this is ours, that we did it. And that seemed like such a big height for me that over the last couple of months, I've struggled with a lot of stuff. I've struggled with losing, I'm going to be public about it, but I lost my drummer, and I lost him as a friend. We had a big falling out, and it's really, really hurtful, and it broke my heart to a million pieces. But I realized that just doing music and going out and playing with my friends, and it's all about friendship. That's what it came down to. Is I wouldn't exchange this for anything. If somebody said, hey, we're going to tour the country with this other band, I'm like, I don't want to leave Steve and John and Akiba, my new drummer. I don't want to do that. Like, this is, I think, where I'm supposed to be. And if we don't get any further, I'm a happy guy. And I'm so glad my brain and my heart got to that point where, like, this is comfort for me, and I want to keep it going and keep evolving. But I'm done with the ladder. I broke the ladder in my brain.
And that's exactly what you guys are doing the right thing, because a prime example is a band, Def Leppard. They lost, excuse me, they lost a drummer and lost his arm. Like,
oh yeah,
how do you fix that, right? So to me, if you have loyalty in a band, or even in life in general, hold on one second. If you have like loyalty and friendship, no one's gonna stop you.
If anything that I've learned over the last couple of months is that, I guess breaking the ladder of whatever it is, it was the best thing I've ever done. And one other moment made me realize I loved what I do as well. And I think it was, I think we were playing at Mercy Tavern in Salem, and some kid who I never met before came up to us after like the first set. And he was really like enthralled with the show, and he liked the songs and stuff. And he was like, yeah, I was thinking about getting a guitar and maybe starting something. He's like, I've never played before. And, but he's like, I think I'm going to do it. And regardless if he did or not, if that kid went home and bought a guitar and started playing, and that just opened up new colors for him, regardless if I'm good or not, because I don't think I'm a good musician by any means, that made my day. That made everything. I mean, I could just, somebody else can, it's almost like Inception, the movie Inception. I didn't jump into his dream to say, start a band. He just went out one night and saw a couple of guys fucking around, and he's like, I want to do that too. And it's like opening up new portals there. You know, it's really cool how that works.
We got cut off earlier, but it was like when I was playing the bass, I was trying to like, maybe I should try guitar. So the friend that I was jamming with, he goes, come on by to the talent show at the high school. I said, okay. I checked out, there's a band there. I was like, dude, this kid? I was like, I can do better than that. I was like, I don't want to do that. So it was the same kind of thing. It was just this kid that I knew. I told him this actually recently. And he's like, really? He's like, that's what moved you to move to guitar? I'm like, yeah, actually. I said, I made a goal for myself to learn Eruption to play for like a talent show. And that's what I did. That was the first like big goal. And that was the only time I was ever nervous on stage.
Talent shows are pretty they're pretty nerve-wracking for sure when you're in high school.
I was all by myself, and they got my name wrong. They actually called me Eddie Van Halen. They had no idea because I said it said Eddie Van Halen guitar solo. They called me Eddie. I was like, no, it's not my name.
So okay, real quick, I know we're probably over an hour here, but so I have been asking everybody this because I think it's so interesting. But if you could have dinner with any three people, living or past, who do you think it would be?
That's a good one.
And I know you'll probably change your mind tomorrow because this is one of those questions where, I wish I said this. Just in the moment, who you think?
In the moment, I would love to obviously speak to Bruce Lee. Eddie Van Halen, obviously. Actually, scratch Eddie Van Halen. I'm going to put in David Lee Roth instead. Because that man is, if you ever see Joe Rogan, he's on Joe Rogan, watch the David Lee Roth show. It's like 3 hours long. He doesn't stop talking.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I'll write that down. I love the Rogan show, so I'll watch it, yeah.
So I got Bruce Lee, I got David Lee Roth, and I'm going to go with, that's a tough one. I'm going to go with Paul Stanley from KISS because Paul Stanley, he's a big motivator of mine. I was going through a tough time at one point, and I read his book called Face the Music. I met him in person, too. During that time, it was very inspiring, but I won't get into that.
That's awesome.
But those three.
That's great, man. I like them. I like it a lot. But, so, I mean, I feel like just personally, I feel like I could talk to you. The three of us could talk for like hours about stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised that most of this conversation was not even music. It's not. I guess it's not that surprising. I think it's not that surprising. It's actually a good thing. I almost feel better because of it. Because we meant this to be a music podcast, but we end up talking about things and different things, and things come out like, just different emotions and stuff. And I think it's so cool what you're doing, man. It's just amazing.
Thank you. You guys too. You guys are doing a good job. Like I said, you guys have that loyal band, and that's the most important thing in a band. Because if you don't have loyalty, it sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably gonna kill Steve in the next practice, but
yeah, that means
I'm just gonna murder Steve straight up.
If you say that means you love each other. So stop it.
I shot Steve in the head. I'm like, I love you so much.
We love Derek. Our best for another episode.
There's a lot of death threats in the Vultures for sure.
Oh yeah, at this point. Yeah. If John and I see eye to eye on something, it's like the greatest day in history.
Oh God, dude, that kid changes his mind every 2 seconds.
Oh man.
John wanted to be here, but we're working at Leahy. But yeah, man. Thanks so much for talking with us. I want to do. You should definitely come on here again, and we'll do another combo because this has really been enlightening for me.
Awesome, I appreciate it. Again, we're in the room of enlightenment, the dojo.
I think that's why.
Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah, I think you.
I feel a lot of good energy.
Well, that's good. I'm glad I can give that to you.
Yeah, I think you transmit it very well, and I think this was we covered a lot of good stuff here tonight. But anyway.
I wish we talked more about music. That's okay.
No, next time.
I know. Yeah, well, we'll do it again because I mean we're doing this for fun. This is for people who are bored at home and want to just listen to people talk about whatever. So.
I'm home. I ain't going anywhere, obviously. So just let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We'll definitely gonna have you back on for sure. And dude, thank you again so much. This was a pleasure. Thank you. We'll definitely because there's only so much you can capture in an hour. You know what I mean? So we'll do part. We'll do part two. Part two coming soon.
Sounds good.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Eddie. Thanks.
All right, take care, man.
Appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Stay safe.
You too, brother.
You too.